with us today, we have GROK cards.
I'm the child. I'm here too.
Yes. My favorite human. And then over there is my favorite dog, who is not going to be doing the GROK card exercise. So here it is, GROK Your World. And I first discovered these cards when I was working at a domestic violence agency, and my supervisor asked me to do a training in New York City on nonviolent communication. And this was a tool that we used to kind of delve a little deeper into our emotions and our needs. So emotions, sometimes we can feel really strongly anger, happiness, frustration, sadness. So there's like maybe 5 to 10 emotions that we clearly use all the time. And then there are other emotions that are more subtle but more accurate that we just don't use because of our vocabulary, or we're just not thinking about it. So these cards kind of help us. There's needs and emotions. So we have the firm resentful. So that is a little bit more specific than just feeling angry at someone. You're resenting them for something, right? So when you're feeling emotion, or even when you're not feeling emotion, one way to get a little deeper into what's going on with you is to go through this deck. And when I feel something, when I read a word, say resentful, and I have any of those resentful feelings, I'm gonna put it off to the side. If not, I just keep going through the deck. So basically you're trying to weed out all of the feelings that you have, right? Then the next step is to weed out the needs that are maybe not being met. To have your intentions seen, that's the first one, okay? To be seen, period, is another one. So if those things trigger an emotional response in you, or upset you, or trigger you, then you're gonna put it on the right-hand side, and if they don't, you put it on the left-hand side. And you just keep going through the deck and eliminating more and more of the less important ones until you have the end. So we're gonna do this really quickly. Would you like to be the one sifting, or would you like me to go sift? You can do it. Okay. I will sift. Sifting. Okay. And it's better to do this not out loud, so I'm just gonna kind of go through it really quick. Oh dear. And I'm a bit more negative than I thought that I was. And you can do another round, going through
So you're basically trying to like whittle it down, right? Figure out.
Yeah, figure out what's really going on. Okay, so in my emotions, and we'll just kind of go through. So I have envious, irritated, lonely, grumpy, and frustrated. And I think that this kind of points to my frustration, I guess, with relationships, and I get worried that things have not gone well in the past, so I don't want to enter into anything because it's a shit show. And but at the same time, I'm lonely, and I'm kind of envious of people that are able to make these things work. And I'm like irritated and grumpy when I like see other people constantly doing it so easily, and something that I really, really struggle with. Do you want to then go through the second deck and just be the sifter?
Sure.
Talk
So
about.
can you explain these again real quick?
So if you're feeling a need that's not being met, you're gonna put it to the right. So if you feel like you're not seen, you're gonna put it to the right. And if you do feel that that's not, maybe you don't feel seen, but it's not like a really important thing, you put it to the left. So it's just the very triggering ones, the ones that like when you read it, you like almost feel like that little twinge, I guess.
So it's like if the needs aren't being met, like if I have a lack of dignity.
Yeah, that's the one. We get really personal here with these GROK cards.
Yeah.
And for that reason, while she's shifting, you know, you can do these alone. You don't need to broadcast it. I've always been very comfortable airing all of my stuff out into the world, but if, you know, I really suggest the first couple times you do this, you either do it with someone that you're really, really close with, or even just by yourself. And you can journal about it, write down, you know, the cards that come up for you, what that might mean, and then kind of track that for a while. I like to do these GROK cards. You could do it every day, once a week, that kind of thing, and do a journal entry about it. And it's meant to bring stuff up, right? So a lot of times when you're like, oh, I'm fine, you know, fine is, you know? And then you go through these and you're like, oh, I'm a lot more not fine than I thought I was. I'm not trying not to swear. Don't want to get blocked or censored. And this is also going back to the nonviolent communication. It was a tool that was introduced to us first to communicate within ourselves as to what's really going on, to dive a little deeper, to help with problem solving. So when you think, oh, you're just mad at someone because they did this, when you go through your deeper emotions and the needs that were not being met in that moment, you get a lot more clarity on what is actually happening and how to solve that and work with somebody and communicate with them what you need from them in a better way than just putting it back on like, well, you said this and that's messed up. Again, I'm trying not to swear. That's messed up and I'm mad about it. What kind of person does this and what kind of person does that, and putting it all on the person, right? As opposed to maybe saying, I felt this way, I took this way, I was looking for this need to be met. And if you don't want to get you know, too much into psychological terms, at least understand that, put it in your own words, and then you can communicate that better and actually resolve the problem.
Yes. So I have for needs that are not necessarily being met, or needs I'm struggling with, to matter and belong, meaning and purpose, self-expression, balance, ease and comfort, connection, friendship, and beauty and aesthetics. And
should I give you a hug while you read this?
I guess it's okay. So part of it is I have really bad social anxiety. So when it comes to friendships and stuff like that, I often tend to feel insecure, not only with the beauty and aesthetics part, and, you know, like in my own body, I feel really insecure. And that definitely worsens and increases when I'm around other people. You know, it's like I have kind of trust issues in a way. I can't, it's like it takes a lot for me to be myself around people who I've just met and I, you know, haven't really connected with. And on top of that, because of that, I have a hard time actually connecting with people, kind of letting my guard down and being able to matter and belong with a group of people. I've found to be quite difficult. But yeah.
And that's also cool because like you can have these feelings and, you know, if you bring up something like, I feel fat in this or whatever, a lot of times you're like your friends, especially other girls, will be like, oh no, you're perfect. And it doesn't really mean anything to you if you feel a certain way about something. You kind of just like, oh, they're just being nice. But to actually communicate this in a different language could be a little bit more helpful.
Yeah, and to build friendships too that are actually meaningful, where the other people will be honest and they will be open and they will show you respect. Building those kinds of relationships is also super difficult. And so in my past, you know, I've seen that that's not always something that has been met with certain friends that I've had. So it makes it hard to actually build friendship. It's similar to what you were saying about the relationships, really. It's just not so much a romantic relationship, more of friendship kind of things. But yeah.
And you're really good with that, by the way. And I think because you struggle with some of those things, it makes you really supportive of other people. Like when I was going horseback riding and I had like that really insecure moment and I just like got frustrated, I was gonna wear your grandmother's sweatpants. And you just like helped me.
They're like business pants.
You helped me in a really kind way. Just be like, okay, and you'd like dress me and stuff like that. And
yeah, I give you my leggings.
Yeah, and
shirt.
I went out and I felt pretty instead of wearing my mother's clothing and feeling like meh. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And even though like in my emotional check-in, I may not be doing well in some relationships, I think it starts with the relationship with yourself and your immediate people. Like our relationship has gotten really, really good this year.
Really good. But it's because of both of our individual growth that it's gotten better. We've been able to actually take a step back and work on ourselves, and that's made us better as a relationship in between like you and me. What is she doing? Sorry, the dog is going ham.
And that actually just using these cards, we didn't even mean for this to happen. We just opened so many lines of communication and just being grateful for our individual journeys and our journey together. So definitely use these. It comes with, I'm not like selling, I don't get a commission or anything, but it comes with little games and stuff. I've never played any of them, to be perfectly honest. I use it for this purpose with clients one-on-one, with groups, and with my family.